Hi, it's Dr. Centeno, and I'm going to talk to you about how do you take apart stem cell miracle cure websites to understand what's real and what's hype. So this particular genre I'm going to talk about today is the medical clinic stretching the truth category, meaning that there's some truth on this site, but there's also a lot of hyperbole. So the first telltale sign that there's an issue is that most of the website consists of a single page. About 80% of all the information is on one page, meaning you're not seeing a lot of depth and breadth here. So I'm not going to mention the name of this clinic. I have that blocked out, but so this is a good thing. They talk about how amniotic and placental stem cells are a scam. There are no live products. They're actually referring back to a study I helped work on through the Interventional Orthopedics Foundation. But then they start to stretch the truth a bit. They talk about how they take bone marrow using an Arrow OnControl drill, and we use the Arrow system as well. But then they get into this whole larger thing about a larger amount of cells to be harvested, which is total BS. The Arrow system doesn't make that claim, nor is there any research that shows that the Arrow system can produce a larger amount of stem cells from bone marrow. The best you can do is to go to as many sites as possible. That has nothing to do with the Arrow system. So again, starting to stretch the truth there. Only board certified doctors. Well, that's great. That makes sense. But the doctors involved here, the only doctor, only MD involved here is actually not an orthopedic physician or anything that has anything to do with the musculoskeletal system. And we're talking about orthopedic issues here. And then science expertise, that's all great. But I'm not sure what a PhD neuroscientist has to do with orthopedic stem cells. So again, we have some things that aren't fitting here. Dedicated processing laboratories, that sounds good. We do that at Regenexx as well. Targeted administration methods, not really saying what they do to target, meaning that you would want to be talking here about ultrasound and fluoroscopy, but I can't find any information about that on the website at all. Now, here's an interesting one, evidence-based treatment. And I'm going to show you that they don't have any evidence that their treatment works. Realistic expectations, that's wonderful. That's really, really good. You want to make sure you set good expectations. And clinical studies registered through the National Institutes of Health. I can find 0 clinical studies registered through the National Institutes of Health, which is clinicaltrials.gov, I think is what they're talking about, that have anything to do with this particular company. So again, stretching the truth. And this is all really interesting. They're talking about they're affiliated with these folks. The ISSCR is anti-physician stem cell clinic, so that means they're a member, but they're not going by the ISSCR guidelines. This American Society for Cell Biology, again, is just an organization of cell biologists. They do no accreditation. This is where the guy's surgery center is accredited, which doesn't have much to do with anything for this. And the Society for Neuroscience is probably what his PhD is a member of, but doesn't have anything to do with this website. And then you get into the research studies, and these are all really interesting. This one is actually a degenerative disc disease paper where they injected under fluoroscopy intradiscal. Now, we've seen no indication on the website that this clinic has the ability to do that, which is a specialized skill, so I don't know why they are quoting that study. Then you see down here, this is actually our clinical study and on hip osteoarthritis, and I can tell you that the procedures used by this clinic don't mimic ours in any way, meaning our research doesn't apply to what they're doing. We used a very specific protocol to get those results. This one appears to be actually pointing to our large knee study, but then really the link is bad. It actually goes to that study. But again, these folks didn't use our approach, so using our research is totally disingenuous. They didn't do that research. They don't use the same approach, so they've got no business stating that our research applies to what they do. So that's it for today. It shows you again how even though a research-based website that seems to look a little credible, really if you dig deep, there's some credibility issues there. So if you've got any more questions about real stem cell therapy, www.regenexx.com. Thanks so much.